A student's overview of the Ageless wisdom was carefully compiled from the following books by Alice A. Bailey. A Treatise on Cosmic Fire. Esoteric Psychology, Volumes 1 and 2. Esoteric Healing. Esoteric Astrology. The Rays and the Initiations. Students are encouraged to download the free PDF version of this overview by following the link in the video's description, or to order a printed copy at cost from thebookpatch.com, but are advised to read the original, unabridged books in order to gain deeper insight into the ageless wisdom. Students are also invited to join our online study group at facebook.com/groups/students of the ageless wisdom. Chapter 73: The Rays and the Initiations. The relation of the 7 rays to the initiations. It will be obvious to you that, as energy is the basis of our entire manifested world, an initiation is a condition of consciousness wherein the fully prepared disciple utilizes the available energies, at the time of initiation, to bring about changes within consciousness of a momentous and revelatory nature. Each initiation puts the initiate in a position to control certain related energies and enables him to become increasingly a trained manipulator of those energies. Each initiation gives him understanding of the related energy and of its field of activity. Each initiation reveals to him the quality and the type of stimulation to be evoked when brought into contact with any particular ray energy. Each initiation establishes relationship between the initiate and the ray energy involved, so that gradually, no matter what may be his soul ray or his personality ray, he can work with the quality and the creative aspect of all the rays, though ever retaining a greater facility to work on his own soul ray, and later with the ray of the monad, one of the 3 major rays of aspect. I would ask you to remember that all human beings must finally express the quality and livingness of one of the 3 rays of aspect, even if, in time and space, their souls may originally be upon one of the 4 rays of attribute. In the case of the accepted disciple who is in preparation for initiation, the term applied to this system of integrated energies is soul-infused personality. The fusion is necessarily not complete, but enough soul energy is present to guarantee that minimum of soul control which will make the initiatory process effective. It might also be said that this system of integrated energies is, through the initiatory process, confronted with still higher fusions, because initiation is a process whereby successive integrations, attended by consequent expansions of consciousness, become possible. These are, in their broader significance, 7, though entailing many minor points of integration, as follows. 1. Fusion of the energies of the soul-infused personality with the triple energies of the spiritual triad. 2. Fusion with the monad, of which the spiritual triad is an expression. 3. Fusion with the world consciousness of the planetary logos to a degree which makes the planetary life, with all its states of consciousness and phenomena, a confining and constricting form for the initiate. In connection with this final fusion, it is worthwhile to point out that, when this stage of development is attained, it then becomes possible to enter into the exalted state of mind which holds the planetary logos focused in the consciousness of the sacrifice which he has made by means of the entire process of manifestation. As the secret doctrine has pointed out, this sacrifice which he has made on behalf of the untold myriad of lives which compose his body of manifestation, holds him in physical expression until the last weary pilgrim has found his way home. the rays and the 5 initiations confronting humanity. Let us now consider our theme of the rays and initiation. This signifies in reality a study of the rays as they actively condition the path of initiation. Forget not, we are dealing here with the path of initiation and not primarily with the path of discipleship. Even though the two paths are very closely related, we are not dealing with the disciple's character and actions. We are considering one thing only, the type of ray energy which makes any specific initiation possible, irrespective of the rays of the initiate. We are in fact considering initiation as a planetary process, and not that process as it affects the individual initiate. That we shall consider under our point the significance of the initiations. End of page 371. These 5 initiations are under the energy impulses of rays 7, 6, 5, 4, plus the dynamic influence of ray 1 at the time of the 5th initiation. You will note, therefore, that these initiations which confront average humanity are all of them conditioned by a minor ray, yet finally bring in the energy of the highest ray of aspect, that of will or power. This dynamic electric energy has to act in a new and different sense if the 4 higher initiations are to become living objectives in the initiate's consciousness. It is for this reason that the 5th initiation is called the initiation of revelation. Some understanding of the first or will aspect is conceded at this initiation, and for the first time the nature of divine purpose is revealed to the initiate. Hitherto he has been preoccupied with the nature of the plan, which is after all an effect of the purpose. In these 5 preliminary initiations the true nature of the minor rays, in their creative aspect and as expressions of the quality of the manifested world, begins progressively to dawn upon the initiate. In the higher 4 initiations he slowly arrives at a dim understanding of the purpose of creation. The true purpose, however, and the nature of the will of the planetary logos will only be revealed in the next solar system, wherein the soul-infused personality of the planetary logos will demonstrate living purpose within the ring pass knot of the 3 lower cosmic planes. With these abstruse ideas we need not concern ourselves. Let us study the energy conditions wherein the initiate proceeds from one initiation to another until he stands at the portal of revelation. Initiation I, the birth at Bethlehem. Ray 7, the energy of order or ceremonial magic. First of all, let us consider the type of energy which the 7th ray expresses and wherein lies its potency and efficacy, from the angle of the initiation. As we study these initiations and their conditioning rays, we will divide our ideas into 3 parts. 1. The type of energy and its quality in relation to the processes of the particular initiation with which it is associated. 2. Its effect upon humanity, regarding humanity as a world disciple. 3. The stimulating nature of the energy as it expresses itself. A. In the 3 aspects of the initiate's nature, mental, astral and physical. B. Through the soul-infused personality, the initiate in good standing a phrase of the deepest occult implication. To sum up what I have said. A. The energy of the 7th ray is the potent agent of initiation when taken on the physical plane, that is, during the process of the first initiation. B. Its effect upon humanity will be 1. To bring about the birth of the Christ consciousness among the masses of intelligently aspiring human beings. 2. to set in motion certain relatively new evolutionary processes which will transform humanity, the world disciple, into humanity, the world initiate. 3. To establish in a new and intelligible manner the ever-existent sense of relationship and thus bring about upon the physical plane right human relations. The agent of this is goodwill, a reflection of the will to good of the first divine aspect. Of this first ray of will or purpose, goodwill is the reflection. 4. To readjust negative and positive relationships, and, today, this will be carried forward primarily in connection with the sex relation and marriage. 5. To intensify human creativity and thus bring in the new art as a basis for the new culture and as a conditioning factor in the new civilization. 6. To reorganize world affairs and so initiate a new world. This is definitely in the realm of ceremonial magic. End of page 372. C. The stimulation of this seventh ray will, in relation to the individual initiate. 1. Bring into being upon the mental plane a widespread and recognized relation between the soul and the mind. 2. Produce a measure of order in the emotional processes of the initiate, thus aiding the preparatory work of the second initiation. 3. Enable the initiate, upon the physical plane, to establish certain service relationships, to learn the practice of elementary white magic, and to demonstrate the first stage of a truly creative life. Initiation 2, the baptism in Jordan. Ray 6, the energy of idealism and devotion. In the initiatory process between the first initiation of the birth of the Christ and the beginning of the conscious unfoldment of the Christ life and awareness, the life of the initiate has undergone a pronounced reorientation. He is now capable of an equally pronounced and often fanatical adherence to the program of aspiration and of devotion to the good, as he sees it at this stage. This is symbolized for us in the story of the 12-year-old Jesus who was so conscious that he must be about his Father's business that he defied his parents, caused them distress, and astonished those older than he by his spiritual poise and knowledge. This he offset by going down to Galilee and being subservient to his parents. A somewhat similar attitude, without the developed and inclusive understanding manifested by the Christ, can be seen expressing itself in the disciple during the period wherein the new orientation is taking place. The disciple is learning to discipline his lower nature and to achieve a measure of mastery over his physical inclinations. He thus releases physical energy and brings order into his life. This takes a very long time and may cover a cycle of many incarnations. He is constantly fighting against his lower nature, and the requirements of his soul, as he somewhat ignorantly interprets them, are in constant session against the animal nature, and increasingly in relation to the emotional nature. Above all, he becomes aware of a secondary relation, involving a most difficult problem and one which enhances the fight and intensifies his problem. He discovers that his emotional nature, his lower psychic faculties, his astral development and the potency of glamour are now all arrayed against him. The reorientation with which he is now faced has to be brought about primarily upon the astral plane, because that has been for untold eons the level of his major polarization and the sphere of activity and the state of consciousness which has dominated him. The physical body is not a principle. His etheric body has, since Atlantean days, been the agent of his astral energy, for the mind nature is not yet developed and cannot, therefore, adequately take control. He discovers that he lives in a chaos of emotional reactions and of conditioning glamours. He slowly begins to realize that in order to take the second initiation he must demonstrate emotional control. He realizes also that he must have some knowledge of those spiritual energies which will dissipate glamour, plus an understanding of the technique whereby illumination from the mind, as the transmitting agent of the light of the soul, can dispel these glamours and thus clarify the atmosphere, in the technical sense. As regards humanity as a whole, polarized as it is in the emotional nature, the effect of this sixth ray is potent in the extreme. Its energy has been playing upon men ever since it came into incarnation, and the last 150 years have seen that potency become extremely effective. Two factors have enhanced this effect. A. The sixth ray of idealism or of devotion is the ray which normally governs the astral plane, controlling its phenomena and coloring its glamour. B. The stream of energy, coming into our planetary life from the constellation Pisces, has for 2,000 years conditioned human experience and is peculiarly fitted to blend with and complement this sixth ray energy and to produce exactly the situation which is today governing world affairs. The united activity of these two great streams of cosmic energy, playing upon and through the third planetary center, humanity, has created the unique condition in which the race of men can stand before the planetary initiator, the Christ, and under the focused stimulation of the hierarchy, pass through the initiation. End of page 373. It should here be remembered that the masses of men can and will take the first initiation, but that a very large group of aspirants, far larger than is realized, will pass through the experience of the second initiation, that of the purifying baptism. These are the people who express the essential qualities of ideological recognition, devoted adherence to truth as sensed, profound reaction to the physical disciplines, imposed since they participated in the first initiation many lives earlier, and a growing responsiveness to the aspirational aspect of the astral body. This aspiration is occupied with reaching out towards contact with and expression of the mental principle. This particular group in the human family are karma manasic initiates, just as those taking the first initiation are physico-etheric initiates. Let me sum up what I have said anent the effect of sixth ray energy. 1. The energy of the sixth ray produces two major results which brings about a basic reorientation of the life of the initiate and of humanity as a whole. A. An embryonic realization of the will nature which determines the life of the initiate. B. A pronounced conflict between the lower and the higher self. This reveals to the initiate the ancient conflict between the emotional nature and true realization. 2. In connection with humanity, the effects of the sixth ray are as follows. A. The development of a tendency to clarify the world atmosphere, releasing the energy of goodwill. B. The production of a condition wherein the race of men can take the first or the second initiation. C. The sudden and powerful emergence of the world ideologies. D. A basic transformation within the astral plane itself which is producing points of crisis and tension. 3. In relation to the individual initiate, the sixth ray produces a. An acute situation wherein a vortex of force is generated. B. In this vortex all the emotional and ideological reactions of the aspirant are intensified. C. Later, when this subsides, the initiate's alignment becomes astral mental soul. D. There takes place, in connection with his mental vehicle, a crystallization of all thought and a fanatical adherence to mass idealism. E. These tendencies are later transformed into spiritual devotion to human welfare. F. The personality becomes definitely astral Buddhic in nature and expression. You will see, therefore, how immediate and important is the opportunity confronting humanity today. Vast numbers of men will take the first step towards the unfolding of the Christ consciousness and thus pass through the first initiation. This often, I might well say usually, takes place without the conscious realization of the physical brain. This first initiation is, and always has been, mass initiation, even when individually registered and recorded. Thousands of aspirants in every country, as a result of conscious effort to understand, will stand before the initiator and undergo the baptism initiation. Bread and water are the symbols of these first two initiations. Both are basic essentials for life in the physical sense, and are equally basic in their implications spiritually. This the initiate knows. These two initiations are the only two of significant importance at this time, owing to their relative immediacy. It is the return of the Christ which has brought these subjective spiritual tendencies of mankind to the surface and made these two initiations possible. It is the activity of the seventh ray of order and of the sixth ray of idealism which has generated the tendency in humanity towards the white magic of right human relations. They have fostered the trend to ideological control of the human consciousness. It is the passing out of the Piscean age with its type of energy, and the coming into power of the Aquarian age, with its potent purificatory energies and its quality of synthesis and universality, which will make the new world order possible. It is therefore apparent that the opportunity confronting humanity has never been so promising, and that the corporate relation and fusion of all these energies makes the manifestation of the sons of God and the appearance of the kingdom of God an inevitable happening in our planetary life. End of page 374. Initiation 3, the Transfiguration. Ray V, the energy of concrete knowledge. As all disciples have to be focused on the mental plane and must operate from that level of consciousness, the understanding of this type of consciousness is one of major importance. It is glibly and most easily said that disciples and, necessarily so, initiates must use the mind, and that their polarization must be mental. But what does this mean? Let me give you some concise definitions of this ray energy, leaving you to make your own individual application, and from your study of these concepts and the mind, learn to gauge your own mental condition. 1. The energy of what is so peculiarly called concrete science is the quality or the conditioning nature of the fifth ray. 2. It is preeminently the substance of the mental plane. This plane corresponds to the third subplane of the physical plane, and is therefore gaseous in nature, if you care to use its correspondence as a symbol of its nature. It is volatile, easily dispersed, is the receptive agent of illumination, and can be poisonous in its effect, for there are undoubtedly conditions in which the mind is the slayer of the real. 3. This energy is characterized by three qualities. A. The quality which is the result of relationship with the spiritual triad. We call this abstract mind, and the impact which affects it comes from the atomic level of the spiritual triad, that of spiritual will. B. The quality which in this solar system is easily responsive to the major ray of the planet, that of love wisdom. So responsive is it that, in conjunction with emanations from the three worlds, it has produced the one existent form upon the mental plane. This form, in the planetary sense, is that of the kingdom of God and, in the individual sense, is that of the ego or soul. C. The quality which is basically related to the emanations or vibrations arising from the three worlds. These creatively result in the myriads of thought forms which are found upon the lower levels of the mental plane. It might therefore be said that these qualities or aspects of the fifth ray of spiritual energy produce pure thought, the thinker or the son of mind, and thought forms. 4. This energy, as far as mankind is concerned, is the thought form making energy, and all impressions from the physical, etheric and astral planes force it into activity on the level of concrete knowledge, with a resultant kaleidoscopic presentation of thought forms. 5. It is fundamentally the most potent energy at this time in the planet, because it was brought to maturity in the first solar system, that of active intelligence. 6. It is the energy which admits humanity, and particularly the trained disciple or initiate, into the mysteries of the mind of God Himself. It is the substantial key to the universal mind. 7. It is profoundly susceptible to the energy of love wisdom, and its fusion with the love aspect is given the name of wisdom by us, because all wisdom is knowledge gained by experience and implemented by love. 8. This energy, in its three aspects, is related in a peculiar sense to the three Buddhas of activity. These great lives reached their present state of development in the previous solar system. 9. This energy, insofar as it is considered as the mental energy of a human being, and this is one of its minor limitations though a major one for a human being, is the higher correspondence of the physical brain. It might be said that the brain exists because the mind exists and needs a brain as its focal point upon the physical plane. End of page 375. 10. The quality of this energy of concrete knowledge or science is twofold. A. It is extraordinarily responsive to impressions coming from some source or other. B. It is rapidly thrown into forms in response to impression. 11. The impressions received come from three sources and are sequentially revealed to man. These are A. Impressions from the three worlds. These come, first of all, from the individual and then, secondly, from the levels of planetary consciousness. B. Impressions from the soul, the son of mind, upon the level of mentality itself. C. Impressions from the spiritual triad, via the antakarana. These come when the antakarana is constructed or in process of construction. 12. This energy is essentially a light bearer. It responds, again sequentially in time and space, to the light of the Logos. It is for this reason that the mind is regarded both as illumined when higher contacts are present and as an illuminator where the lower planes are concerned. 13. This energy is, from the human standpoint, awakened and brought into activity through the action of the five senses, which are the conveyors of information from the three worlds to the mental plane. It might be said that A. 5 streams of informative energy, therefore, make their impact upon the concrete mind and emanate from the physico-astral plane. b. 3 streams of energy from the soul, also make an impression upon the concrete mind. c. 1 stream of energy, during the initiatory process, contacts the mind. This comes from the spiritual triad and utilizes the antakarana. 14. The energy of this fifth ray might be regarded as the common sense, because it receives all these impacts of varying energies, synthesizes them, produces order out of the many ceaseless impacts and interprets them, thus creating the multiplicity of forms to which we give the name of world thought. 15. This energy transforms the divine ideas into human ideals, relating the knowledges and sciences of humanity to these ideals, thus making them workable factors in human evolution, its cultures and civilizations. I will now summarize the effects of this fifth ray energy in relation to humanity and the individual initiate. A. I gave, first of all, 15 items of information and this fifth ray energy, or 15 definitions of its activity. These will warrant careful study. b. The effect of this fifth ray energy upon humanity in this fifth root race was considered. It was noted that this Aryan effect was dominant and dynamic in the extreme and that it has greatly hastened human evolution. c. I pointed out the close relation between love and mind, as follows. 1. Ray 2 and Ray V. 2. Plane 2 and Plane V. 3. Solar System 2 and Root Race V. In all of these relationships, the fifth in order is the prime agent and the revealer of the second type of spiritual energy. d. The fifth ray energy produces 3 major areas of thought, or 3 prime conditions wherein the thought form-making energy expresses itself. 1. Science, education, medicine. 2. Philosophy, ideas, ideals. 3. Psychology, in process of modern development. End of page 376. E. This fifth ray energy operates in connection with the law of cleavages. F. It is also responsible for the rapid formation of great conditioning ideologies. G. This fifth ray energy is the important factor in making possible the first major initiation, the Transfiguration initiation. H. Fifth ray energy works in 3 ways in connection with the 3 aspects of the personality. 1. As the transmuting agent, the physical body. 2. As the transforming agent, the astral body. 3. As the transfiguring agent, the mental body. This gives you much food for thought. It indicates the personality goal and the mode whereby it is attained. After the third initiation, we reach out in consciousness to higher expansions of consciousness and will then enter a realm of ideas which are not yet easy for the disciple to appreciate or to understand. Much that I will have to say Anant ray energy and the higher initiations will mean little to many, but it will mean much to the initiate consciousness. The world initiates will be coming into incarnation at this time, and will read my words towards the end of this century with great understanding. End of chapter 73.